You grind through a grueling month of work, your hard-earned paycheck hits your bank account, and boom, it is instantly gone. According to a 2026 Tradingpedia analysis of Numbeo data, the average rent in Lisbon consumes over 99% of the local average net salary. And this is not just an isolated tragedy, because the European Parliament notes that nearly 1 in 10 Europeans now struggle to pay their rent or mortgage on time. Housing costs have completely ballooned to over 40% of disposable income for millions of young adults across the continent. Hey friends, Money Lab here. If you feel like you are hustling every single day just to hand your cash over to a landlord, you are definitely not crazy. Today, we are cracking the case on why renting is eating up such a huge share of young people's income across Europe. Is it just normal inflation? Or is there a much bigger, structural trap secretly draining your wallet? Let us jump right in and uncover the truth. The stagnant wage illusion. Your boss calls you in, hands you a solid raise, and you feel like $1,000,000. Yet, somehow, you are completely broke by the 15th of the month. What gives? It is the ultimate economic magic trick, where your paycheck looks significantly bigger on paper, but inflation secretly picks your pocket before you even sign a lease. Let us look at Germany, the supposed economic engine of Europe. Over an 8-year span leading up to 2025, Data Pulse research revealed that German wages grew by 27% nominally. On the surface, you would think young professionals are swimming in extra cash, upgrading their apartments, and living the dream. Wrong. Once you factor in the brutal reality of inflation, grocery bills, and everyday survival, real wage growth was a pathetic 1.3% over those 8 years. Your actual purchasing power has essentially flatlined since the day you entered the workforce. But here is the kicker. Landlords definitely did not get the flatline memo. While real wages barely moved an inch, the cost to live near your actual job exploded. In Berlin alone, rent prices spiked by a staggering 91% during that exact same timeframe. So, you might be bringing home a few extra euros, but your housing costs have nearly doubled. The math is completely broken. Young adults are not going broke because they spend too much on avocado toast or designer clothes. They are pouring every single drop of their supposed wage growth straight into a runaway rental market just to keep a basic roof over their heads. 2. The supply and demand squeeze. You finally land that dream entry-level job in the big city, ready to conquer the world, but there is one massive catch. There are literally no apartments left for you to rent. Young professionals today are being forced into the most brutal game of musical chairs in economic history. Companies aggressively cluster together to share talent pools and infrastructure. So, if you want a career in tech, finance, or modern media, you are basically forced to pack your bags and head straight into a hyper-expensive urban battleground like London, Paris, Milan, or Berlin. Older generations love to tell young people to simply move out to the suburbs or a quiet rural town where rent is cheaper. But you cannot exactly build a thriving digital marketing or engineering career from a remote cabin with dial-up internet. You have to physically be where the action is. Because of this, millions of ambitious young adults flood into these major economic hubs every single year. But city governments are fundamentally failing to build enough new homes to actually put them in. A massive part of the blame falls on crippling bureaucracy. Local city councils are heavily influenced by wealthy, older homeowners who desperately want to protect their sky-high property values. These existing homeowners weaponize strict zoning laws and endless red tape to block new apartment buildings, constantly claiming that dense housing will ruin the historic charm of their neighborhood. Add in the absolutely skyrocketing costs of concrete, steel, and skilled labor, and building new affordable units becomes a mathematical impossibility. Developers would much rather build luxury glass penthouses with massive profit margins than practical starter apartments for recent graduates. While new construction is paralyzed, the traditional safety net is completely vanishing. Decades ago, governments aggressively built subsidized apartments to keep a ceiling on local rent prices, but they have completely abandoned that strategy. Take a very close look at Germany. Since 2007, the country has lost nearly half of its social housing stock, dropping from 2.3 million units down to just 1.05 million. Or look at Italy. Over 75% of the general Italian population own their homes, but social housing makes up a pathetic 4% of total dwellings. This staggering lack of public options forces young workers, many of whom are already trapped on shaky fixed-term contracts, straight into an absolutely ruthless private rental market, where they have absolutely zero negotiating leverage. To make matters infinitely worse, the limited existing housing stock is actively being hoarded. Massive corporate investors and private equity firms are sweeping into these major cities, armed with billions of dollars in cash, buying up entire residential blocks. Meanwhile, individual property owners are realizing they can make triple the profit by converting their long-term apartments into trendy, short-term holiday rentals for tourists. Imagine trying to find a stable home, but your competition is not just other locals. Your competition is a global army of vacationers willing to pay €200 a night just to take selfies on a balcony. Every single time a tourist books a cute weekend getaway, that is one less permanent roof available for a local worker. This creates a massive shadow hotel industry that slowly hollows out real, functioning neighborhoods. The mathematical outcome of this severe supply bottleneck is completely terrifying. According to Eurostat, between 2010 and mid-2025, European Union house prices surged by an astonishing 60.5%. During that exact same period, average rents climbed 28.8%. When 100 desperate applicants are fighting over a single poorly lit studio apartment, landlords possess the ultimate power to charge whatever astronomical price they want. Maximum demand clashing with artificially strangled supply means Generation Z is paying luxury prices for the absolute bare minimum living conditions. 3. The social housing collapse. For decades, governments across the continent had a straightforward, highly effective strategy to keep living costs under control. They actually built and maintained homes for the working class. But somewhere along the line, politicians decided to put your safety net up for auction. Starting in the late 20th century, a massive wave of privatization swept through the halls of power. Politicians convinced themselves the free market would manage housing better than the state. So, they aggressively mass sold off their existing public apartments to private equity firms for a quick cash injection. By viewing subsidized homes as a financial burden rather than essential infrastructure, they completely defunded critical housing programs, causing the traditional safety net to vanish overnight. When major nations lose half their social housing stock in under 2 decades, the impact is catastrophic. Years ago, a robust supply of public units acted as a natural price ceiling, forcing private landlords to keep rates competitive. Once those public options evaporated, that ceiling was entirely ripped away. Today, young people are shoved directly into an unprotected, hyper-competitive private market with absolutely zero leverage. This created a massive demographic called the missing middle. These are ambitious young professionals who earn just slightly above the strict threshold to qualify for the tiny remaining fraction of social housing, yet earn nowhere near enough to survive the brutal private sector. The mathematical fallout is absolutely devastating. An analysis by the European Trade Union Institute showed that minimum wage workers in countries like Ireland, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg now spend over half their wages just to rent a basic apartment. Imagine that. Over 50% of your hard-earned paycheck instantly vanishes on the very first day of the month, long before you buy a single loaf of bread, pay a utility bill, or even think about saving for the future. By completely abandoning their historical role in the housing sector, governments transformed fundamental human shelter into a highly lucrative, speculative financial asset. Young adults are not failing because they lack work ethic. They are simply paying the ultimate price for decades of incredibly short-sighted policy decisions, completely trapped in a system that was quite literally sold out from under them. 4. The ultimate wealth trap. Imagine celebrating a 27% pay bump over 8 years, only to realize you are practically poorer than when you started. A 2025 study by Datapulse Research revealed exactly that for German workers. While their nominal wages grew by 27%, crushing inflation meant their real wage growth was a pathetic 1.3%. Over that exact same 8-year period, rents in Berlin spiked by a mind-bending 91%. That staggering gap right there is the ultimate wealth trap. Renting is consuming your entire paycheck because the fundamental nature of a house has completely mutated. A home is no longer just a basic human necessity where you sleep, eat, and raise a family. It has been violently transformed into a globally traded, hyper-financialized asset class. When real wages flatline, and the state's safety net evaporates, housing becomes a playground for extreme speculation. Instead of being priced based on what a local worker can actually afford, apartments are now priced based on what international private equity firms can extract in maximum yield. This creates a brutal economic engine that sucks the wealth out of young, productive workers and funnels it directly upward. Every single month, you are handing over your hard-earned income just to pay off the mortgage of a massive corporate landlord or an older investor who bought their third property 30 years ago for the price of a used sedan. You are essentially working a full-time job just to build equity for someone else. And the oldest piece of financial advice older generations love to give is to simply stop renting and buy your own place. But that advice is completely divorced from mathematical reality. When rent eats up half of your take-home pay, saving for a massive down payment is practically impossible. You cannot budget your way out of a structural housing deficit. Skipping your morning coffee or cancelling a streaming service is not going to magically bridge a gap of tens of thousands of euros. The ladder to homeownership has not just been pulled up, it has been set on fire. The current system forces young people into an endless loop of renting, preventing them from ever building generational wealth. They are trapped, constantly one unexpected medical bill or sudden eviction notice away from total financial ruin. So, how do we actually fix this massive crisis? The blunt truth is that the free market is never going to solve a problem that it actively profits from. Relying on private developers to suddenly build cheap starter homes out of the goodness of their hearts is pure fantasy. The only way to break this generational wealth trap is through massive, aggressive state intervention. Governments must completely reverse course. They need to heavily regulate the private rental market, crack down on speculative hoarding by institutional investors, and, most importantly, start building millions of publicly owned, permanently affordable homes again. Housing must be completely definancialized. It needs to be treated as critical national infrastructure, just like roads, hospitals, and schools. Because until the state steps back in to guarantee that basic human shelter is actually affordable, renting will remain an inescapable black hole for your bank account. You are not struggling because you lack ambition. You are struggling because the game is structurally rigged against you. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you learned something new today and want to stay ahead of the curve, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to X Money Lab for more deep dives into the chaotic world of economics. Catch you in the next one.